My name's Dean Phelps, and I am the Director of Product Enhancement here for CDM Plus. Good to have you here with me today to talk about the facility that Engage member directories provide that are now available to your church members. So what I want to cover today is the facility that's available to create a real-time online member directory using Engage that your church members have access to. Now, I'm going to use the terminology of church members throughout this, but really what we're talking about is the people that you have recorded in your CDM Plus database with individual records. So those may be church members, those may be friends, those may be other kinds of constituents. We're really talking about all of those individual records, but I'm going to use the term church members to talk about all of that. I'm not trying to distinguish members from visitors from friends, just these are the people that you have recorded in your database. And how do we connect those people with the community? So that's with one another as well as with the mission and ministry of the church. So we're going to start by actually going into the Engage member directory, taking a look at that, seeing what members can do with that, seeing what's available to them just from a member directory kind of standpoint. What have we done now to take advantage of the communication technology available to us to make that available to church members, not only in a way that's portable because it works on their phone, their tablet, their computer, but also stays real time and current. So we're always keeping things current. We're looking to keep people connected. And so we'll look at the Engage directory and just see how that does that. Once we've taken a look at the directory itself, then we'll back up a couple of paces and look at how we set up to use the online member directories and what do we need to do in the web ministry tool administration to set that up, and what controls do we have as far as what's available to folks in Engage. In the course of doing that, we'll talk about the important role that the individual groups in your CDM Plus database play, because a lot of the access in the online membership directory is determined by those individual groups and what groups people happen to be members of. We'll also do a little bit of a precautionary piece. I forgot to add this bullet point to the slide. There's a limited but very important role that the individual email addresses in your CDM Plus database play. So we'll look at that and talk about that as kind of a precautionary piece as you're looking at planning or preparing to roll out the Engage member directory to your congregation. One thing that I won't be covering today is actually how church members will go in and create their Engage account. There's already a video available that explains that process, and it's really designed that it's a video that you can share with folks in your congregation to help them create their accounts and get started, not just with the member directory, but with the other facilities that are available in Engage as well, like online giving, text giving, and event registration, and for employees of the church, the ability to review payroll data. For today, though, we're just going to take a look at the member directory piece of Engage. So this is the login screen for Engage. I've already created my account, so I'm going to log in as Bill Martin, put in username and password, click sign in. This is my member profile in Engage. And so you see I have a picture. This photo comes right off of the Photos tab of the individual record for Bill Martin. I'm able to see age, gender, and family status. Under My Info, I see the relationships. These are the other people in my household. These are myself and the other folks that are connected to the same address record as I am. It shows my street address here and shows my contact information as well. We can also set it up so that as a member, I can actually submit changes to the contact information. So if my address needed to be corrected, if I had a new phone number or phone numbers or email addresses needed to be corrected, then I can do that as well. I would be seeing an edit icon. And when we get into Web Ministry Tool Administration, we'll see how that piece works as well. I can tap or click on the My Groups tab, and this will show me the groups in the CDM Plus database that I am a member of. So I, as Bill Martin, I'm a member of the Adult Choir, the Couples Fellowship, and again, these are groups that are set up in your CDM Plus database. So it's things that I've created on the Groups tab, like church groups and church offices and committees. It's also some of the codes that are present in CDM Plus as well. So I've got the code membership status for active. So I'm able to see other active members in Engage. So as a member of the board, I can click or tap on the board member link, and that brings up the other members of that group. So again, I'm able to see people who are part of the same groups that I am. And I'm really limited to being able to see that. Every individual in the database is not necessarily available to me. And again, when we go into administration, we're going to see how we set that up. But here are the other board members. So I've got Melvin Brown and Paul Dorr and David Emerson. And I can click or tap on one of the board members. Let's just use David as an example. And now I can see information about David as well. So I've got an address and I've got the other relationships. I've also got contact information like phone numbers and email addresses. So for example, and I would remind you, this is designed to be used on any device. So if I'm on a phone, it works just as well. If I'm on my phone, which I'm not at this point, I could tap on this phone number and actually call David. So it's a very handy directory in the sense that I don't have to look up a number and then go back and forth and type it in. I have that right here. I can just tap on the number, or I can click or tap on the email address, and that opens up my email program with a new email and lets me start an email to David. Up in the upper right-hand corner is where the menu icon is. In the upper left-hand corner is an arrow icon that I can use to go back to where I last was. So I'm back to that board member list. On the menu icon is where I can then go to the other parts of Engage. I could go to Giving at this point. But here in the member directory, I have access to groups. So if I tap or click on that, now here in the left, I see a list of groups. And these are the groups that two things are true for. One, that we have told Engage in the setup that these are groups that will be visible in Engage. And these are groups that I am a member of. So if you look at my individual record in places like the membership tab or the groups tab, these are the groups that you will see there. And again, I can tap on a group here. For example, I have the active membership status here, so I have access to all of the active members and their contact information. So here's the Allen family, Lucy, Jenny, and Jesse, the Cooks, Delvecchios. Again, I have that real-time current pictorial directory. Again, the pictures come off of the Photos tab, the individual records in your database. Things are updated real time, so we always have access to current information. And that's really what the Engage member directory does. Go back to my profile. We do also have control over the phone numbers and email addresses that are displayed here. Any email address or phone number that you have marked for an individual as being unlisted, it will be visible to that person. So for example, if I had this alternate primary phone marked as unlisted in my database, I would see it here as unlisted, but anybody else that was accessing my profile or my contact information would not see that phone number. All right, so let's go take a look at how we set this up in administration. Again, to log out, I tap on the menu icon and then log out. That brings me back to the login screen, but I'm going to go to a different website now, one that you may be familiar with, the Web Ministry Tool administration screen. So I'm going to log in for my administration. And where I need to go is to the Engage button on my Web Ministry Tools administration. I click that. And here is where we set up Engage member directories. So you can see that here's where that URL, that link gets created. It always starts engage.saran.com. That's the website. Then this second piece after the slash is a string that you create that makes this the URL or the web address that you then give to your members to say, go here to access Engage and have access to the online directory. From administration, I can click the open button and again, open that up and see the Engage login. The organization name, if you note back again on the login screen, that's what gets displayed here on the login page and also gets displayed in the top bar of the various Engage tools. I mentioned that we can allow members to change their information, and in order to do that, I simply check this box on. Now, if we do that, it may be that we would like for somebody in the church office, some staff person, to be notified that a change has been made. We don't have to. We can leave this box unchecked. But if I check that, then it's asking me for, okay, well, where should I email those notifications that something has changed? I'm going to use this training at saran.com email address. Then this last section is where we set up which groups in my CDM Plus database are going to be available, are going to be made visible in Engage. So again, there's two criteria for what I, as a church member, see. First is that these are groups that are in this selected groups list, and second, they're groups that I am a member of. There's a box here that you can check that just makes it wide open, allow access to all groups. And again, it's groups that I'm a member of that would be visible to me. I usually caution against checking this box because there may be groups that you use in your CDM Plus database that you don't necessarily want to expose to everybody in the congregation. So I really advocate leaving that box unchecked, but using this interface to say, okay, these are the groups that have not yet been made available, this list on the left. So you see I've got my marital status. So there's some of the codes that are in CDM Plus that are available to me. The membership code, membership status, and notice, remember we had active members available in the example. Well, I have access to those active members because it's in the selected group, but we're not exposing inactive, prospective, shut-in home, these other membership statuses. It's interesting that I've got deceased as a membership status here, because in order for me to see members of that group, I have to be a member of that group, and I think maybe you see where the problem might be there. But again, any groups that I have created in my CDM Plus database are there that can be used. So I have a group for ministry interests, so I have an understanding of what ministries excite people, where they feel their gifts are. I could make these available as groups in Engage so that all of the folks who've expressed this interest in the teaching ministry would be able to connect with each other through Engage. I could do the same thing with occupation type. So this is what we want to do. I can link my Sunday school classes up. So for example, I want to make the men's Bible class available. Well, I highlight it here in the list and I click, and there's the men's Bible class. So now if I could log back in to Engage as Bill Martin and I'm a member of the men's Bible class, well, now I'll see that group and be able to see and contact and connect with the other folks that are in that group as well. The same thing works for taking groups off of the selected list. For example, if I want to move deceased off, I highlight it on the selected side and click, and I've now moved that off. When I'm done, I'm going to save my changes. Changes have been saved. I'm going to close. Now I'm going to come back over here to Engage for just a minute, log back in as Bill Martin. Click sign in, and here we are. Now notice, because I checked that box on that said we can now change contact information, I now have these edit buttons available to me. So I can add new phone numbers by clicking add. So I could add a cell phone with the number 606-766-6789. And notice that as I type the number in, Engage is using the formatting that we've specified in CDM Plus in the system preferences. So I don't have to run the risk of some members typing in no phone number punctuation, some using periods, some using dashes. It's all guided by the formatting that I specified in my CDM Plus system preferences. So I click add, and the phone number was successfully added. And I can do the same thing to add an email. Click add. So again, I as a member can help the church office stay up to date and have current contact information as well. I can edit the street address. While we're here looking at email addresses, this is my precautionary tale. Again, I will send you the link to the video on how to create Engage accounts when I send the follow-up emails to this class. But when we go to create an account, when a church member gets that engage.saran.com address from you, and they go in, let me log out so we're back at the login screen, and they come down and use this create account link, Engage is going to turn around and ask for an email address. Now, the only thing we use the email address for is to look up and see if we have this person in the CDM Plus database. So we use the email address to locate an individual record. And if we find it, then we'll then connect that individual record with their Engage account. So before you roll out Engage to church members, do make sure that you have, to the best of your ability, have current emails in your database, because if they click create account, they put in an email address and we don't find it in your CDM Plus database. We're going to let them go ahead and create an account. And what will happen is Engage will then cause an address record, an individual record, and a giving unit record for that person to be created in your database. That could cause some duplicates in your database. If it does, then there's easy ways to merge those and make sure that we get this person's Engage account connected to the existing individual record. But you do need to make sure that you have current email addresses in your database to the best of your ability as we roll this out. Again, back over on administration, if I have this box checked to notify staff of changes, then if somebody does create an account and it results in new records being created, then there's going to be an email to this address saying that that happened. So we have ways of monitoring what's going on. If duplicate records get created, then it's a fairly simple process to start to merge those things and get those new, any information that might be on those new records up on the existing records for those individuals. So that really covers what I'd hoped to talk about in the Engage directories. I don't see any questions on the chat at this point, but I'll hold up just a couple of minutes and see if we get a question or two, or if you wanted to pop a mic open and ask a question. What I would like to do, though, is thank you for taking the time to join us. Certainly. Where can I find, here's a question. Where can I find a price list of the different modules which allow more than the basic record keeping for admin, giving, and accounting? Bruce, the thing to do would be to call our sales department and ask them. Yeah, the number is 877-891-4236. And that'll connect you with our sales department, and they can price out what's needed for the various components. They can talk with you about, okay, what it is your ministry needs are, and then kind of help you put together the tools that you need and be able to price that out for you. Again, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure meeting with you and talking with you.